Okay, next we'll move to Keep Our Assets Canterbury and Stephen Howard. There's a written submission, and John Minto, in fact, as well. And there's a written submission supporting this on the hub. So, Stephen and John, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Tēnā koutou anō. Koa first spoke to the council, Christchurch City Council, in response to an attempt to stampede councillors into accepting the sell-off of assets using the Cameron report. We are now, as we were then, in a crisis. Nowhere near as bad as a climate crisis is going to be, but still it's a very serious crisis. And if we've learnt anything from crises, we have learnt that business and its neoliberal cronies will use them to further drive short-sighted and greedy policies of austerity and neoliberalism. This council is not a business. It doesn't have shareholders. It has residents and citizens, and we shouldn't think like a business. Debt for a government is different from debt for a business. I'm pleased that the council has redrafted the annual plan, but I advise caution. The council has no choice between a set of sustainable green progressive policies for the people of Aotearoa, or a set of policies that drive us further down the destructive neoliberal path of the last 40 years. You can choose between progressive policies in service of the people or austerity policies in service of the greedy and a downward spiral. Before John speaks, I'll just note there's been public pressure about contracts for service. We have consistently opposed PPPs. PPPs worldwide are failures for the people and huge successes for banks. It's always been more effective and efficient for services for the people to be delivered in-house. If the law needs changing, then this is too good a crisis not to go to the central government to push for the necessary changes. Don't cut contracts, bring it all in-house. And I'll leave John to speak. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. Following up from what Steve said, there's the potential for massive savings by bringing work in-house rather than contracting out. We've had this contracting out model running for 30 odd years, and some of it would require a change in law, but a lot of it wouldn't. And we've had the case of a few years ago, Tasman District Council looking at their contracting and looking at what the cost would be of bringing that work back in-house, and they dropped the contracts and brought the work back in-house. Now, I'm not aware that the Christchurch City Council has ever, in the last 30 years, examined this contracting model and considered whether it is delivering more efficiently than could be delivered by bringing the services back in-house. We think there are massive savings to be made because there are three levels of savings here. You've got the contract negotiations themselves that the council has to get involved in. There's the contract oversight, and then of course there's the profit level that comes with the contractor themselves. We can eliminate those three levels by bringing work back in-house, and I think it behoves the council to examine that really carefully. Secondly, we believe the council should put the rugby stadium project back 5 years and bring forward community development projects such as the new pool and the recreation centre for Hornby. This is a time when we should invest in our local communities because those local communities are suffering. In places like Hornby, where the unemployment rate will be going up, we shouldn't expect the major burden of the post-pandemic Christchurch to be borne by low-income communities. Thirdly, another area of saving or bringing in income, in fact, would be to increase rates significantly on undeveloped land inside the 4 avenues. We are 10 years after the earthquakes, and we've got developers land banking in this area. 10 years says it all. It's time to say to them that there will be a significant increase in rates on that land, and a significant increase which will force them to either develop or sell to someone who will. Let's get the CBD moving in that way, and again bringing in significant amounts of extra money that would help to offset what we regard as the very bad decision which was made recently to increase the continue subsidies for developers in the inner city. So very quickly, the other points we would make are we'd like to see the council work with ECAN on a free public transport trial. We'd like the council to make the reductions in salaries at the top of the council permanent and use the money saved to firstly ensure all workers employed to do council work are paid the living wage. We congratulate the council on the increase in house building which is occurring, such as Broome Village, and we reject absolutely the plan to charge for water. The plan that's been put forward is so egregious that I think it's designed to be rejected by the community and rejected by you, in the hope that a compromise will be put forward which will mean volumetric charges, which is what the big end of town has always wanted. I urge you to reject the stalking horse proposal that's come in and reject any so-called compromise that's produced over the next couple of weeks. Because whenever you have user pays charges, no matter how you do it, it always impacts people on low incomes, and in this case in particular, families, large families in low income areas. I lived through this in Auckland, and I saw what happened there. The whole community saw what happened there. I don't want to see that happen in Christchurch. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the 5 minutes. Hasn't allowed time for questions, but thank you very much for the written submissions and some clearly made points this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.